All right, so I think there are two types of students, and I know because I was both of these students. So the first type of student, which was me back in 2017 in high school. This is a student who is literally obsessed with studying. So technically there's three kinds of students. The first kind of student is the student who does nothing. That was me back in like 2015, early high school days, playing video games all day, scrolling on my phone, literally doing nothing, not even interested in studying. But then I discovered that I was actually pretty good at studying. I had an academic comeback and I realized I was actually good at it. So, when we're young, we often look for the thing that we're really good at and we go all in on that thing because it gives us a feeling of power, a feeling of status maybe, I don't know, makes us feel, powerful. So I went all in on studying. I got obsessed with it. It made me feel so good. Finally, I could be better than everyone else in something. I became obsessed with studying. Literally before school, everyone was downstairs socializing. I would go up to the classroom just to study before school. So that was me for a while until I discovered this concept of self-improvement. So I realized that you could actually improve in all areas of your life. And areas where I was lacking, for example, I was lacking socially. I didn't have the social results I wanted. I didn't have the fitness results I wanted. I didn't have the financial results I wanted. I realized you could actually work on those things and you could work on all areas of your life. So I became the second type of student, the type of student who tries to do everything. They want to get good grades, they want to make money on the side, they want to read, they want to exercise, they want to socialize, they want to do everything. And I ended up doing so much that I got nothing done. It was too much. So I struggled with this for a while, pulling back and forth, until I sort of found a really good balance in 2023 during my engineering degree. In that second semester, I was working on my engineering degree, and I also scaled my YouTube channel to 25,000 subscribers, started some online businesses, had a social life, was reading every day, exercising, working on my mental health, and learning languages on the side. So I had found the perfect balance after experimenting with a lot of different things. So in this video, I'm going to give you a couple principles here that helped me balance everything. Because a lot of students are under the impression that self-improvement and studying can't go hand in hand, and they actually affect each other negatively. But the reality is, if you work on yourself in many ways, it actually improves your studying. So if you learn to integrate these things perfectly, everything grows. You can get everything at the same time. Okay, real quick, my inner circle community is open for this semester. So if you want to join, check out the first link in the description, limited spots available. But okay, let's get into it. So the first principle I want to give you here that I learned is to become really clear on what you want and to set goals. Now I know this sounds obvious, goal setting is probably one of the most common things talked about online. But for me, the biggest struggle was picking what goals to have. Because I always wanted so many different things. There was seasons where I wanted to become, a fighter. I wanted to make money online. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to get good grades. I wanted to learn languages. I wanted to play instruments. I wanted to do all these things. So I was always wondering, what's my passion? What am I passionate about? Which one of these things should I pick? Because the reality is, the more goals you have, the more your energy is going to be split thin and the less you will achieve in each one. So the more you can concentrate your energy, ideally on 1 to 3 goals, the better you will achieve in those 3. So I would always ask myself, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? But I think the biggest question that you can ask yourself is, which goals do you not want? So an exercise that really helped me was I literally wrote down every single thing I wanted, every single goal I wanted, and I asked myself, okay, where is the motivation for these goals coming? So let me give you an example. In university, I really wanted to do well in my engineering degree. I was literally spending all day studying to do super, super well. But the reality is, I realized I didn't actually want to be an engineer. I was doing it for the money and for the status, because I thought people would think it was so impressive that I did well on an engineering degree. So what I realized was my motivation was actually run by something that I didn't care about. It was run because I wanted to be so amazing, to be so good. And when I realized that was where my motivation was coming from, I started losing interest in my engineering degree. And I started actually pursuing what I really wanted, which was to make a business online so that I could actually live where I wanted, work on the things I wanted, and make an impact in an area that I thought I actually could, which wasn't engineering. Because the reality is, a lot of the goals that we have, they just come from like influencers that we watch. Maybe you watch an influencer who always says like, you have to be a fighter, you have to be a fighter, and suddenly you want to be a fighter. Nothing wrong with being a fighter, but maybe you don't actually want to do that right now. Maybe that's just a goal that somebody was putting onto you. Because let me tell you a dark reality. Influencers are really good at influencing. They know how to say words that literally put desires in your mind. They know how to say words to motivate you to want to do something. Because they've studied psychology, they know all these tactics. I know because I've studied these things. It's so powerful. Literally, sometimes you're gonna watch a video on YouTube and you're gonna be so motivated to do something, which might not be a bad thing, but it might not be something you actually want to do. So basically, when you write down all your goals, try to figure out if these are actually your goals or they're just goals people gave to you. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so maybe you've written a list of all the things that you want in your life, but I guarantee the list is not complete. Maybe you've got like a bunch of goals like make money, get good grades, learn this skill, but the reality is our minds actually want more things than this. I guarantee you didn't write the fact that you want to scroll for 2 hours a day on Instagram. I guarantee you didn't write the fact that you want to eat cake every day. So the next concept I want to talk to you about is to sacrifice, to eliminate things that you don't actually want. And I'll tell you how to figure this out. It's to do with, basically it's a concept I want to talk to you about called filtering your dopamine sources. Now maybe you've heard about this, but I'm going to explain to you dopamine overstimulation in a way that you've never heard before. So we've all heard the fact that, overstimulating activities, drugs, video games, social media, all these things, we've heard that they're bad. But I never hear a good explanation of why it's bad. Because in theory, smoking weed at the end of your day is not going to harm the rest of your day, right? It's harmless. You work really hard for the entire day, and then at night you smoke some weed. In theory, it's harmless. But I'm going to explain to you why doing these things is actually bad and how it actually affects you. So first you need to understand the concept of dopamine. So dopamine is that molecule that motivates you to do something. And whenever you do one of these activities, your dopamine goes up really, really high. Let's take the example of smoking weed. When you smoke weed, your dopamine goes really, really high. It peaks. But the thing about dopamine is it doesn't just peak, it comes back down. And it doesn't just come back down to where it was before, it comes back down to where it was before, and it goes down even lower. And then it comes back. And when it comes back lower to where it was before. So your dopamine baseline actually goes down. So what does this mean? Like, how is this relevant to us? Well, when your dopamine goes down below baseline, you experience that as pain. You experience that as craving. So when you feel the pleasure of, weed, let's say corn hub, let's say a sugary treat or something, you also experience its inverse. You experience the pain of craving it. So maybe you've experienced this. You eat a lot of junk food one day, and the next day you're craving it again. So this is the problem with these high, stimulating activities. It's not necessarily time. It's not that they take our time away from our goals. It's not necessarily that, it feels really good and that's bad. It's the fact that we end up craving it for the rest of the day. So I've been addicted to some things, I won't go into it too much, but I've been addicted to some things that I quit like a year ago. And to this day, I still get the feeling of cravings. Like sometimes it comes up and it feels like I really need that thing. It's like, oh, I really want it. It's so important. It comes in a really strong wave. Now I don't fall for it. I don't go and indulge in that craving. But the fact is, every time you experience one of these pleasures, it's kind of like a debt to future you. Future you is going to experience the pain of craving it. And the more you fall into that cycle, the stronger and stronger and stronger the craving becomes. So if you've been smoking weed for a year, your craving for weed becomes so strong that literally you're itching throughout the day. Like maybe if you've seen someone who's addicted to vapes, They lose their vape for like 1 minute and they're craving it. They're like, where's my vape? I need my vape right now. It's because they're so addicted to it that it's painful for them to be away from it. Now, it really sucks to be them because the feeling of craving really sucks. But we all experience this. We all experience the feeling of craving. Now, it's very I'm not saying to delete your feeling of craving. I'm not saying you're never going to crave again. But what we can do is we can avoid getting into that cycle of craving by removing the source of some of our cravings. So that's personally why I try to eliminate as many of these stimulating activities as possible. It's not that it's going to take my time. It's not that it's going to take my energy. It's the fact that it's a fake source of happiness. It's kind of like, I'll give you an analogy. Maybe I used to have these shoes that were so tight to wear. They were literally so tight, but I was so lazy back then. It was like school shoes. I didn't bother to buy new shoes. Whenever I would get home from school though, I would take off my shoes and it would feel so satisfying to remove those shoes. Now that feeling of satisfaction of removing my shoes, is it real pleasure? Not really, because it came at the expense of pain. To feel that pleasure, I had to endure the pain of wearing super tight shoes all day. So you crave weed and you smoke the weed and you feel so good. It's not actually you feeling good, it's just you satisfying the feeling of craving. It's like you taking off your shoe at the end of the day to feel good. So the solution is not to, take off your shoe, is to put on your tight shoe and take it off at the end of the day. The solution is to just stop putting on that tight shoe in the first place. Because when you feel the craving, that's what motivates you to go and get the substance. The pain of the craving is what motivates us. That's how dopamine works. We feel the craving of eating that sweet treat and it motivates us to go do it. But when you resist that urge, when you ride the urge, you observe it and you don't cave in and consume it, then the urge gets weaker. So what I notice personally is if I don't eat sweets for 48 hours, I stop craving it. That's just me though. You might be different. So this is the really, really, really crazy thing. You realize it's not real happiness, and you realize most people are living their lives trying to get these sources of dopamine. They work really, really hard at school, they get so stressed, and they just can't wait to go home and light up the bong or something. They can't wait to crack open a beverage. But the reality is, it's not actually solving their inner pain. It's like I said, it's taking off the shoe. It's a fake form of happiness because it comes at the expense of craving, of pain the next day. So the solution is to get out of this cycle of up and down. And the other thing that makes it even worse is the more you indulge in that pleasureful source, the less strong it gets. If you're somebody who, when I first tried drinking when I was 17 years old, I was literally just high, it was so good. It was literally the best experience ever. But within a year, 2 years of constantly drinking so much, the high became pretty lame. It became boring. It wasn't that good. But I craved it even more and more and more. I would go to a party and I literally couldn't even talk to anyone until I went to the bar and had at least 3 drinks. Then I could finally talk to people. So the strength of these dopamine sources goes down, but your craving for it goes up. It's literally a curse. It's literally a contract with the devil. I'm not even kidding. It's completely, this is why this, okay, I know I'm kind of going onto a rant here, but this is why this point is to sacrifice. Figure out, there are some things in your life where the motivation for doing those things is simply to get rid of the craving that you're feeling to get towards it. So what I can tell you when it comes to destroying cravings, I'm not an expert here, I'm not a psychologist, but for me, the biggest thing that helped me overcome my cravings was meditation. Because meditation helps you understand that life is up and down, up and down. There's high emotions, there's low emotions, and it teaches you how to stay balanced among all of that. So when you're feeling the pain of craving, it teaches you how to remain balanced. When you're feeling the high of those pleasures, it teaches you how to remain balanced. So that was what helped me the most. But the other thing to realize is you're not going to be able to solve it straight away. I remember I had fantasies where when I first tried to quit Pornhub when I was 17 years old, I thought I could just do it straight away. I could decide, okay, I'm never going to watch Pornhub again, I'm done, and it was gone. But I ended up struggling with it for a long time. And when you struggle with something for a long time, I was feeling a lot of shame because every time I would relapse, The relapse was bad, yes, it added to the craving cycle, but I made it even worse by feeling shame on top of it. It's like, oh no, I relapsed again, I'm such a failure. So I'm adding even more pain onto it by adding shame onto it. So the other thing as well that can help you is to let go of the shame and to realize that actually, if you're addicted, if you've gone into this craving cycle really, really deep, then the craving is probably so strong that you're not going to be able to resist it every single time. You're going to fail sometimes, and that's okay because it's a habit and it's going to take a while for you to undo the habit. And adding shame on top of it will just make it worse. That's what I think anyway. So by the way, this is why I'm never going to try some drugs in my life. I'm never going to try cocaine. Because cocaine is literally, I don't even want to open myself up to that curiosity. Like, I don't even want to open myself up to the possibility of cocaine because I'm going to begin that craving cycle. If I could go back in time, I would have never tried drinking. I would have never tried other drugs, to be honest. So if you're lucky enough to have never tried them, I don't want to give you advice. I don't want to say what you want to do. Make your own decision. And the other thing, by the way, is I used to use this excuse of doing these substances as a reason to avoid my work. It's like, oh no, I relapsed again, I can't study. But the reality is you can actually still study even if you're stuck in these cycles. Now, yes, but they're not going to completely block off your ability. It's not like black and white thinking, if that makes sense. So your next point I want to mention here is, like I said, meditation helped me with this. So work on your mental health. So mental health takes away your time, but it actually gives you more time in the long run. Because here's what I want to explain to you. These substances that you do, they're actually not the problem. They're actually symptoms of a deeper problem deep inside you. So maybe you think you play video games because you're addicted to video games, and yes, that's true, but there's actually a second part to it. A big reason why you play video games could be because you're lonely. And to escape the feeling of loneliness, you run to video games because it helps you escape that painful emotion inside you. So you need to understand yourself on an emotional level to be able to get rid of these addictions as well. So that's why I think working on your mental health is one of the best uses of your time. So for the past 6 months, I've been meditating for 2 hours a day, which might seem like a waste of time. But in the long run, it is actually saving me time. It's actually giving me more time in my life because I'm focusing better. I'm able to be more balanced when I'm craving things. And yeah, I'm just able to remain more balanced throughout my day, which is actually giving me time in the long run. So it is worth investing in your mental health. It will give you compounding gains in your life. All right, final thing I want to mention here when it comes to balancing is what's called the one task rule. So you've got your goals, you know what you want, you've got your things that you want to sacrifice, you know what you don't want. So now how do you get to work on your goals? How much time do you spend on your goals? How much time do you spend on your studies? Well, here's what I want to tell you. Basically, a mindset I want to give you is 1 hour a day of working on something can get you really, really, really far. So there's something called the 20-hour rule, which basically states that in 20 hours, you can make decent progress in a skill. And there's another rule that I want to give you that I kind of made up, called the 90-day rule, where I think in 90 days, you can make some serious gains in something. I think if you started working on your social media account today and worked on it every single day, in 90 days, you could reach, a couple hundred followers. You could actually start to see some serious results with it. So 90-day rule, 20-hour rule, this is why I think 1 hour a day of working on any goal is honestly really, really good. And that's pretty much what I did during my last semester of university, like I said. In that last semester, first thing in the morning I would do was 1 hour of YouTube. And then the rest of my day would be dedicated to study. And that 1 hour of the day, when my energy was highest working on YouTube, it got me so far, like I said, 25,000 subscribers. So literally even 15 minutes a day, the results begin to compound over time. So it's actually worth it. One task rule. And the other thing is to pick the task in that goal that is going to take you the furthest. So during that 1 hour of YouTube, I didn't spend that 1 hour changing my profile picture. In fact, I think I still have the same profile picture that I had back then. I didn't spend that hour, editing my videos. My videos were completely unedited. I spent that time on the highest leverage activity in that goal, which was literally writing and recording videos. That's all I did. Write, record, barely edited my videos. I edited my videos just enough to be able to watch my own footage back. So, you know, the other concept, by the way, is this thing called the infinite game, where basically if you do anything for an infinite amount of time for long enough, you're going to see gains in it if you just slowly hit at it every single day. So 1 hour of working on your social media account every single day in a few months, in a few years, will get you so far. So that's what I call the one task rule. So I think that's very important. So yeah, I hope this video helped you. Like, sacrificing is the big thing. A lot of success is not about adding things, it's about sacrificing things. So you actually have a lot more time than you realize. You just have to sacrifice things. That's the main thing. So hope that helped. See you later. And first link in the description, my inner circle community. Join if you're interested. We can literally, if you want me to personally help you, and my mentor who is the mental health coach in the community, Tushar, he's in there as well. We're taking weekly calls, we're answering your posts. So if you want personal accountability and help, get in there now. Spots are limited. But otherwise, see you later.